I was going to do a ramblin' while ambling this morning, but it started raining. So that kind of put the kibosh on my ramblin' while ambling. So instead, you're going to get a sitting with dogs on my lap and talking into a microphone, which has 100% less doggy butt, and I apologize about that. There were two videos that I was going to talk about on my ramblin' while ambling. One is by Auditing America. This is a team. Apparently, there were two of them, and they were about full-blown retarded. Anytime they have to put "owned" into their own title, you can probably be assured that there was no ownage going on. When they put "embarrassing" in the title, you can generally be assured that it's the auditor who should be embarrassed. Walk of shame, First Amendment audit fail. Yes, it was a fail because these window-licking, knuckle-dragging morons didn't understand the words coming out of this guy's mouth. This is Aaron. He seems like a nice fella. He has his little pronouns right here. His, him, he, him, his, I think it says. He, him, his, yeah. So this is a very respectful place. This is a place that is going out of its way to make everybody feel comfortable. And he says, yes, there's the law and there's that what makes people comfortable. Aaron never tries to stop these guys from filming. He asks them repeatedly to show some consideration. He says, yes, you can film in here. There's not an issue with that. This is a historic building. There are lots of people who film in here, Aaron says. You can film in here. I'm just asking you to be respectful. Maybe ask people if they don't mind you filming them before you do it. Because these people are coming here to read. They're not coming here to be in your little video. And these two idiots can't figure that out. Just because you have the right to do something doesn't always mean that it's the polite thing to do. I saw a post by Pink Camera Magic the other day that I think really hit the nail on the head. She says, it's perfectly legal for me to take a shit in my purse and walk around with it. But that doesn't mean I should do it. And that's 100% correct. This guy was not trying to stifle anybody's First Amendment rights. The officer did not try to stifle anybody's First Amendment rights. In fact, the officer says that, you guys can film. Just try to be respectful. He says basically the same thing that Aaron here says. Now, Aaron actually makes these chumps look stupid because he says very intelligent things like, the First Amendment doesn't actually say what you think it says. You actually need like the case law. And these guys are like, no, it's very specific. It's very specific. We're smart. And Aaron is under the mistaken impression that these guys are media students. They're going to school for journalism or something like that. And they're doing a project. Because that's where Aaron came from. So that's his mindset. He sees a thing, he places it into a familiar setting in his brain so he can deal with it. Because Aaron's thinking, why else would these two idiots be in here filming? There's nothing in here to film. And so he starts talking to them from his reference point, which is journalism, like real journalism, not what these idiots do. And in real journalism, there are ethics. There are actually ethics in journalism. Not laws, but ethics. That real journalists use to constrain their actions so they're not just pissing people off for no apparent reason. I know. It's hard to imagine that, but it's true. It's really true. So the sum total of it is that Aaron has power. Aaron is fairly high up. He's the assistant director, I think. I looked up the library last night. They don't have currently a policy against filming. But are we going to bet a nickel that Aaron, who has the power to implement policy in the library, is going to change the policy to accommodate for these two knuckle draggers who, instead of taking advantage of all the knowledge that's available to them at the library, instead wallow in their ignorance and use their YouTube learning on an educated man. And then there's Mrs. Mac, Little Mac. Now, I have not followed her for quite some time. I remember I did a video on her, and she seems like a very nice person, and I'm not trying to belittle her in any way, shape, or form. If I remember correctly, she's going through some rough times. I believe her husband has cancer or something. I'm operating off of memory. I'm not going to go back and research her terrible much, but she, I don't think, is coming from a place of hostility. However, she has been led astray. She idolizes High Desert Community Watch, from my understanding. And it starts again in media res. We don't know what was going on prior to this. The bus has already stopped. The passengers are already upset. Just like in the library, the public hates what she's doing. If the public hates what you're doing something wrong. You're going to need to get these people on board. Now, I don't know if the Rapid, I know the Rapid has policies in place on you have to obey the orders of the driver, and you can't block aisles, and you can't be disruptive, etc. But the issue with this is that she thinks somehow that this camera is going to grant her extra rights in defiance of the general will of the public and the authority figures. And because she pushes it, she ends up in the back of a police car. And she's telling the police what will and won't happen. She thinks the camera is going to protect her. She thinks call floods are going to save her. And it doesn't. And it won't. And because of her actions, because of her refusal to deal with the situation as it is, she ends up arrested. She gets out later the next morning, I believe. She's not a rich person. She's taking the bus. I think that there is some culpability on the part of the auditors who have misled her. I think that they should feel bad. You do not have a completely unrestricted right to film. Filming does not grant you extra rights. If you are causing a disturbance, just because you have a camera in your hand, doesn't mean that you can't be arrested for causing that disturbance. I do hope the best for Mrs. Mac, Little Mac. I hope she learns from it. It doesn't sound... I watched the video the next day. She thinks that this is making her stronger, and she's happy to be in a country where she can fight for freedoms, like filming in a bus, in such a manner as to cause the people on the bus to be upset and the driver to be upset. I have a sneaking suspicion that before the in media res, she was using the camera basically as a weapon, confronting the driver. She was complaining about how the her bike was placed on the front of the bus or something along those lines. It's just really sad. It's just really sad. I think that there are people in this community who have listened, who have drunk the auditard Kool-Aid, and who don't understand, who don't fully grasp. They're not all there to the point where they can fully grasp the ramifications of their actions. I mean, it's bad when Bao is the voice of reason. Do not go to jail. He says, give ID and go home. This is not your fight right here. When Bao is the voice of reason on your stream, things have gone terribly, horribly wrong. So now this woman, who is a woman of limited means, is banned from riding the Rapid. She's banned from the bus. She's been arrested now. I'm sure she's lost work because I believe she was headed to work. So she's lost at least a day of work. She is looking forward probably to hearings and potentially fines or incarceration. I mean, there are going to be financial issues for her coming up as a result of this. And this was completely unnecessary. So anyway, that's my rambling while ambling while I'm sitting with a rock star in my hand. I just want everybody to be aware that when you're saying things like stand up, Mrs. Mack, when you're egging these people on, there are real world costs to it. These people that you are in air quotes supporting. Abenaki says no ID. Cindy Moore says no ID. These people that you are egging on to do this, who maybe aren't quite intellectually strong enough to understand, there are real world consequences. You are hurting people. You are hurting Mrs. Mac, Little Mac. And man, you should really feel bad about yourself, because she seems like a real sweetheart who's just been led astray. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.